Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good day, whatever you're doing. Most of all, staying nice and safe, especially with this pandemic the way it is at the minute. I always said that in the winter, the pandemic or COVID or this new strain or whatever you want to call it would be a lot worse, and that's because of the wind. Obviously, the wind blows faster, and more people contract the virus. So please stay safe, whatever you're doing. Don't let your guard down. Don't just go into a big crowd where you don't know and think that you're going to be okay, because it's then when you could contract it. So be aware of your surroundings, and only go around family members what you know haven't got it, and are nice and safe. That's just the message I want to put out to all my followers. Make sure you're nice and safe over Christmas, guys, because it's you guys what inspires me to upload these videos onto my channel, and I've got a lot of respect for you guys, believe it or not. So thank you very much indeed. And yeah, that's my main message to you: stay safe. Anyway, yesterday I uploaded some content onto my YouTube, and I was going to go live with a good friend of mine from southwest London, who I was brought up with and raised with. He's a few years younger than me, and he was a good friend of my cousin George Gilmartin. He just lived a few doors along from him in Streatham, just off of Moyser Road in southwest 16. So he's a few years younger than me, but he was aware of who I was at that age, and we're still good friends today. So we was going to do a podcast yesterday. That I acted a little bit rational. It was my mistake, my fault, really, because of I just had this thought in my head because of the comments what I'm getting on my channel. People are asking me to bring guests on. So yesterday morning I woke up and I've got a little bee in. I've got a little bee in my bonnet, or whatever you want to call it. I've got a seed in my head, and thought, right, I've got a thought in my head. I thought, right, I want to start bringing some guests on, and Jason comes straight to mind. Jason Ranks, because he's a good friend of the family. As I said, we was brought up with him, and I wanted to give Jason the opportunity to come onto my platform to share his stories, because he's got so many stories about us lot as a family, and him as a friend. It's going to be a really good one. But yeah, yesterday morning when I asked him, he was at work. So, and I initially thought he would have had a PC or a laptop indoors, but he's using a phone. So it was my fault, because I set it up and scheduled it for 7 p.m. last night, thinking that he had a laptop. But Jason doesn't use a laptop. He uses his phone, and I don't blame him for that, because you can do so much on phones nowadays. You don't really need laptops unless you're running big programs and doing things what I'm doing, like on computers with writing my book and using different programs on the PC. So unfortunately we had to cancel that at last minute thing last night, and we're going to set it up for the next coming few days, because Jason has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend visits Jason quite a lot, and she has access to a laptop or PC or tablet or whatever you want to call it. So that is still to come up, guys. So just be patient with me, and I promise you I will upload that soon. But anyway, yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit. A few of my followers have given me a little bit of direction and asked me like what good stories I should talk about and what people are interested in. And the number one thing what beats a lot is category A stories, category A prisoner, because I was a category A prisoner, and I was an E-man, an escapee. So I want to have a little chat with you about how I became E-man, and how I became a category A prisoner to start off with from dot one. So basically, as many of you know, because I've uploaded quite a few videos of my story, and I've also been on a few different podcasts, a few different platforms telling my story. So I'm not going to go over the whole story. I'm going to talk to you saying about what I haven't really spoken to you much about before, so you can get a little insight into my past. But yeah, we was charged with an X amount of serious armed robberies, and the armed robberies were on banks, post offices and jewellery shops all around London. We got charged with 7, and we had a plea bargain at court with the solicitors and everything else, and we put our hands up. We pleaded guilty to 3 armed robberies, so we got sentenced for 3 armed robberies. There was 4 of us in my case, and we all pled guilty. One of them was a glass. He was an informer, and he was put onto us by Tower Bridge and Barnes Flying Squad. They basically had our MO, but they didn't have our description, or they didn't have our date of birth or our names or anything like that. They was just plotted outside these banks and building societies and post offices all around southwest London, hoping that we was going to strike on that building. But it soon became apparent to us that when we was just about to go on one move, we drove past it to check it out, and there was all armed police up outside of it, and and things like that. And in the past, I've actually been jumped on from something else I want to talk to you about on another day. But I've actually been jumped on. I went to a house to pick some money up. Someone owed me a large amount of money, and they kept avoiding me. And one day I phoned them up, and they said, "Yeah, you can come round and get your money, pick your money up." And it was what they owed me. So it wasn't any skullduggery I was doing, pulling with them or anything like that. This was actually money what they owed me for something what I sold them, and basically didn't pay me. But yeah, after a few months of trying to get my money from him, I'm not going to mention our names. He arranged for me to go round on a Tuesday morning, say like 10 o'clock in the morning, to pick half of the money up what he owed me. And he lived in a house on a road around Streatham, basically. And when I went to knock on his front door, there was scaffolders up, and there was builders working on both houses each side, so he was in the middle. And as I knocked on the front door, the scaffolders, the builders, the roofers, they all jumped off the scaffolding, run down a ladder, and stuck me in handcuffs. And then builders turned out to be undercover policemen. So yeah, that's another story I want to talk to you guys about, but I've slipped off the one what I was going to talk to you about now for a bit. But yeah, so anyway, I've got there was 4 of us in my case, and we got a sentence for 3 armed robberies. I received at that time 12 years. My other Cody got 13 years. One got 15 years, and the glass in my case, the informer, he received 6 years. And I've read other cases too, and that's about the going sentence. What glasses get is 6 years on big cases like that, especially if they gain Queen's evidence. So 6 seems to be the right number for a glass, to be honest with you. I'm not going to mention who glassed us up, because it wouldn't be right really. And I actually feel sorry for that person now as a person, as a reformed person myself. I feel sorry for him, to have to stoop that low to want to glass your mate up and get your mate locked up for double figures. There's got to be something going on, and it's music to my ears. He went to Grendon after, got to therapy, got let out again, went into a hostel. He did the grass, started smoking heroin when he got out on that 6 years from us. This is what I heard. He started smoking heroin. He got a few of the boys in the Bow hostel, which he was living in, on heroin, and he got, basically someone phoned up his probation and got him recalled for selling heroin in the hostel. And that was the last time I heard anything about him. I'm not too sure where he is now, but I'm not really interested where he is now. And that's all I've got to say about that, guys. Yeah, but we got took down by a grass. So yeah, I got 12 years. Well, the sentence was gonna be 12 years, but when the 3 of us went to Inner London Crown Court for sentencing, the grass was also in the court, but he was obviously in a different cell to us downstairs at Inner London Crown Court, and he was like shouting through the cell doors at us and things like that, but we couldn't get to him because, it was on the file stamped up to be kept separate. He was an informer on our case, so we could never ever get to him. But it was annoying, like hearing his ratty little voice shouting out to us. I wanted to. You can imagine what I was going through at that time, knowing that he'd really grasped us up, and he told the police so much stuff. He got all my family's houses raided. What he told them that I'd kept my my guns around there and a few bits and pieces. I'm not going to go into it too far because it's pretty personal. It's a family thing. But yeah, he went so far as grassing all my family up, and having all my assets seized and things like that. So anyway, what happened was when the judge was passing sentence, he passed sentence to my co-defendant, which I'm going to call Mr. Big, and he received 15 years. And then he done his summing up, passed sentence, and then he come to my other co-D. He passed sentence to my other co-defendant. He got 13 years, and then he came to me. And for some reason, it wasn't planned. It was a spur of the moment thing. But just before he was going to pass sentence, he done his summing up on me, and he said, you know, society need a very long break from people like you. You're a danger to the public, and I'm going to give you a sentence where it'll either make you or break you, and you'll come out a changed man. And he started, and I can still hear his summing up ringing through my ears. But just before he was past sentencing, as he was saying all that to me, doing his summing up, obviously I was a Category A prisoner at that time because we was charged with an X amount of armed robberies, and my other three co-Ds, two of them, so those Category A prisoners. So we went into hire down initially in 1999, and I'll never forget it because it was the day before my birthday, on the 10th of July. I fancy doing a move on the 10th of July. But yeah, what I had in my head was do the move, get the money, and then go party uptown, you know, Park Lane and all around that way, and Soho and all, you know, that's what we had plans to do. But unfortunately, it come to an end when we got arrested coming out of that post office, and I didn't know at the time, you know, we'd been grassed up, and they was plotted up waiting for us. But that was the case when we got our statements and read our debts out, and off of it, you get your debts and your statements off your solicitor and things like that. But yeah, grassed up. So let's get back to this story about jumping over the dock. So it's just about the past sentence to me. I was Category A conditions, so there was two jailers in the dock with me. But the dock at Inner London Crown Court is raised off the ground, so it's probably about 10 foot off the ground, and you come through the back door from down the court. You come up the stairs, and then you're on like a level, so you're 10 foot off the ground. And I was looking down like that, and there was two screws, one each side of me. The dock was obviously locked, so we couldn't run out the dock, but there was no glass there. And I see two screws at the entrance of the courtroom, and all of a sudden it was just a spur of a moment. I've gone boom, I've jumped over the dock, I've jumped down the courtroom. The two jailers have naturally run towards me, and as they've run towards me, I've rugby tackled one of them. I've sent him flying across the other side of the courtroom. The judge actually run back out through the back door of the court. He disappeared altogether. The panic buttons, the alarms were screaming, and there was lots of footsteps and lots of running around. But I managed to get past two of the security corps at the doors, and I was all of a sudden running along some corridors at Inner London Crown Court. But now I'm running down these corridors which leads to the outside. So you'd only have people on these corridors what are coming to court, what are on bail, and I've got to these corridors. There was one of the security corps, a fat bloke, he jumped up and he was chasing me. There was a skinny one, he was like not far behind me, but all of a sudden, it just took seconds. All of a sudden, I see the street, I see daylight, and you had to go through some swivel doors, and there was a solicitor going out. You know, all the police was on their way, and the alarms were screaming, but I got round through these swivel doors. Now I'm out the front of Inner London Crown Court. So I've got down the steps, I'm on the main high road, and the high road is called Borough High Road. I can't believe my luck. This was a spur of a moment thing, and all of a sudden I've escaped as a Category A prisoner, and I'm running along Borough High Street. So I'm running as fast as I could. I was very fit. I was about 13 stone. I was training. You know, I wasn't in a good shape when I went to jail, but obviously where I was on remand for 12 or 13 months, I got clean. I was eating well, cooking my own food on House Block 4 in Belmarsh as a Category A prisoner. I was eating well, I was hitting the gym as much as I could, so I was fit. So yeah, I was running down Borough High Street. I run about a mile and a half down Borough High Street. The skinny security call was still chasing me, but he was probably about 100 yards from behind me. So now I've come to Elephant and Castle, and there's a big roundabout there. So I've looked over the other side of the roundabout and I've seen the underground train station, and that's where I'm heading. So basically, I'm running across this roundabout like this. There's all cars going around the roundabout, and all of a sudden, I've noticed a black taxi coming towards me from the right hand side, and there's no way was I going to get in front of it, but I was halfway, if you know what I mean. I was in the road, but the taxi was heading towards me. I tried to jump out the way. I couldn't believe my luck. I thought someone was actually trying to run me over, and this was a good 2 or 3 minutes after I got away from the court I'm talking about now, and I was heading towards the train station. So if I'd have got down that train station, I'd have been gone and I'd have been away. But for some reason, the taxi driver hit me in the middle of the main road and knocked me to the floor. And the back doors of the taxi opened up, and there was about 3 or 4 Securicor guards from the court, which was in the back of the taxi. They flagged the taxi driver down outside in a London Crown Court, and they just told the taxi driver to go straight ahead. And basically, they asked the taxi driver to hit me, to knock me over. I've got a big scar on my left-hand knee. I'll show you another time. But yeah, they jumped out the back. All the police come. There's helicopters up in the air. They wrapped me up, threw me back into the police van, and took me back to court. And then I went back to Belmarsh that day. I didn't have no further charges at that time, but obviously the court case had to get adjourned, and I didn't get sentenced. Although my other codees got the sentence, I didn't, because now there was a separate charge altogether. So I went back to Belmarsh. And when you're on remand, you can wear your own clothes and things like that. And as I went through reception, they asked to take all my clothes off me. I asked them why, and they just read out whatever they had on the file, and said, "Well, we understand you just escaped from court, and you've got to go into an E-man suit, which is an escapee suit." So basically, they give me a yellow and green jumpsuit. I kept my own trainers on, and then they put me on the E-list, so I was an escapee. And I was on House Block 4 of Belmarsh, CCTV everywhere on there. And everywhere I went, I was getting monitored. I was getting chaperoned everywhere I went. I couldn't go nowhere whatsoever. My visitors all had to get vetted. If they had any criminal record, they wasn't allowed up to visit me. I was only allowed a few amount of numbers on my phone list, and the numbers what I give to them had to be checked, and that took about a month to come through. So I was now a Category A prisoner, and I was also an E-man. And this is when I met YAMMY again later on. It was in 1999, and I was on House Block 4, and YAMMY was in there. I think he was doing 8 years or 9 years or something like that. But I'll tell you a story about what happened one day. So I was put into single cells because I was E-man. You've got to change your cell every 2 weeks. At the night time, you've got to take your E-man suit off and put it outside your cell and hang it over the landing. You're not allowed inside your cell with no clothes whatsoever. I don't know what they seem to think you're going to do with clothes on or without clothes on. They're in House Block 4 in Belmarsh. It's impossible to ever get out of there, but they go to the extreme of doing that, taking all your clothes off of you. I enjoyed it in a little bit, in a sense, because of everywhere I went, I got there double quick. So if I wanted to go to the chaplain, to the church of a Sunday, other people had to walk down corridors and queue up, and I got took down there lively by the screws, and got brought back to the wing lively by the screws, and even things like library. If I wanted to go to the library, I couldn't, like a normal inmate, you could go to the library on your own. It's all locked up, you can't go nowhere, and it's obviously in the prison just at the top of the wing, so you can go library. But yeah, things like that I benefited from. But where it done me was like my visitors, and and things like that. And anyway, one day I went down to I'd jumped one day. It was probably about 3 months into the sentence. I had a right zig one day, and I went down to get my dinner at the hot plate, and I was just having a bad day. And Yammy was in the queue. I think he was just in front of me, two in front of me, and we always had a chat because Yammy knows my co-defendant, who I can't mention, but he knows my co-defendant very, very well, Mr. Big, I call him. And me and Yammy get on great because obviously he knows my co-D, and we've got that connection. We've had that connection for a long, long time. I've had his back and he's had my back on many occasions in many different jails. And he's doing good stuff now, so big shout out to you, Yammy. But this day in question, I was going down to the hot plate, hard jump, and then days, it actually was still the silver trays. Do you remember the silver trays we used to get? This was in 1999. So they put some crap on the plate, like a curry. It was stone cold, the rice was hard, and I looked at the screw behind the hot plate and the hot plate boys who worked there, and I said, can I, because you have menus, and basically you tick the menu, and I asked the screw if I could change it. I said, because I can't eat that, it's junk, it's horrible. And the screw humiliated me in front of all the other people at the hot plate. And when you're in that mindset, what I was in, that's not a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Even though I was in jail and I was never going to win the fight, I certainly wouldn't let no one take a piss out of me. So I threw my complete dinner tray at the screw, and it covered him from head to foot. He hit the panic button, and all the mufti screws and the security screws, you could hear him running down the landing, and they run in and bent me up like a chicken and put me on the floor. But one of them, so I was face down on the floor, my legs were bent up in my back, my arms were bent behind my back, and one of them actually put his foot, a big black boot, on the back of my neck and was like pushing down onto my neck. So he was half trying to suffocate me, stop me from breathing. And I'll never forget it, and I'll always thank you, Yammy, because Yammy actually ran up to the screws and said, no, that's a liberty. Get your foot off of his neck. Do you know what I mean? And a few other inmates also come in and said, no, we're not having this, we're not having this. He's going down in seg anyway, he can walk down there, do you know what I mean? Because at this time, I wasn't retaliating. They had me on the floor, you're not going to fight, you're not going to be able to fight, there's so many of them, so I'll just give up. I'd done what I needed to do, and that was it, and I was going to walk down in seg. But yeah, cheers, Yammy. They walked me down in seg. I went in front of the governor on adjudication and got 14-day CC, solitary confinement, loss of earnings, and all that crap what comes along with it. And that's when I see Charlie Bronson was down there too. He was 2 cells along from me, and I used to hear him during the daytime doing workouts in his cell all day long. He was training, and yeah, we used to have a chat out the cell window of a night time down the seg. You got a cage on your cell window, but our cell window backs onto our little exercise yard, so we all used to have a little banter and have a little laugh, and we used to like try and make Charlie like laugh a little bit and uplift him a little bit, because he's done a lot of bird by then, do you know what I mean? And he used to have a laugh with all the boys. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is just one story. I've got many, many, many more to come. Thanks for giving me that direction of what to put onto my channel, because it's you guys what's inspiring me. I know I'm inspiring so many other people, but it's my followers what are inspiring me and what give me a direction of what content to upload to my YouTube. So a massive thanks to my subscribers. Please stay safe. Have a great Christmas. Take care. I'll be uploading again soon. Peace.